Hi everyone, well here's another boring ass player for you. Another script kiddie that obviously can't play a 3-year-old game without cheating. But here's the thing, it's cheaters like this that make decent modders look like shitbags, because all modders then get tarnished with the same brush. And that to me is unfair to these guys that do make games better to play, making them fun to play. This type of shit is just plain and simple cheating. Do you know what? I would actually find it hilarious if a modder came up with a code to disable these mod menu script kiddies in-game. Now that would be funny to hear, because obviously you'd hear them bitch about how their mod menu has stopped working in the game. But also, just think of the job offers you'd get from companies like Activision, Treyarch, and so on. Now that would be something to strive for, rather than how good your stats look in the game. Because we all know, when you have a KD that says 6.0, you're cheating your ass off. Anyway, enough talk about these cheating little script kiddies. I would like to share a story with all of you that my dad told me quite a few years ago, actually. A long time ago. But it's one that's stuck in my head. And it has nothing to do with cheating or gaming or anything like that. So don't get your hopes up just yet. So here's a little background on my dad. So he was in his early 30s at the time, and he applied to be a fireman, which I have the utmost respect for. I mean, these guys risk their lives going into burning buildings to save lives almost every day. So if any of you are firemen, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome. Okay, back to the story. So it's quite a sweet old story, really. It's about an elderly lady that my dad saved from a burning house. And the story went like this. He was on night duty and they get a call around 9 PM to go to this house fire. When they get there, the house is basically going a good one. I mean, it's really bad. And he honestly thought there'd be no survivors. So they've got all the kit on, the breathing apparatus, all the fire protective gear. They break in through the front door, and that's when he noticed off to his left there was a body lying there. He picked the body up and took the person outside to a waiting ambulance. Luckily, the lady was still breathing and semi-conscious. So she was only suffering from actually smoke inhalation, and she was still obviously semi-conscious, as I said. But yeah, so my dad laid her down on the gurney, and my dad went back to the house where the team were putting out the fire. After a few minutes, the fire was coming under control, and my father gets called over the radio to come outside, which he does. And the old lady had actually refused to go to hospital until she thanked my dad, which was really nice. But as my dad told me, you know, it was clearly a case of it was a job. You know, he was there to do a job, and his job is to save lives. So he obviously tried to convince her that she needed to go to hospital to get treated. Now you're all thinking, great, but it doesn't end there. She still refused, and she refused profusely to go to hospital. Well, that was until she was at least reunited with her Billy. Now, of course, my dad radioed through straight away and said to look for another person. Obviously, he's not going to say look for another body, because that just says that person's dead. But yeah, so he radioed through and said, please look for another person, there should be another person there. To which the old lady said, no dear, Billy's my budgie. My dad looked at the house and then looked at the old lady, as if to say, budgie's got no chance. So my dad had to cancel the search for a body and embarrassingly say, could someone please bring out the birdcage? Which, of course, one of the other lads did, or colleagues, should I say, one of my dad's colleagues. They obligingly brought out the birdcage, and obviously the bird was dead, you know. But they brought the cage over to me dad and where this old lady was, and straight away, apparently this old lady, she perked up, and my dad broke the bad news to her. And she replied very calmly, can you resuscitate him? So my dad, being the kind-hearted man he is, put his breathing mask over the bird that was now in his hand and gave it a quick blast of air, knowing full well this would do nothing to bring back the bird. As he depressed the button to give this bird air, the bird shot out and away from my dad's hand. And yeah, you guessed it, the air pressure inside the mask and onto the top of my dad's hand was a little bit too much for the lightweight bird, and obviously it just flew away. Well, not really flew away, it just sort of was jettisoned from his hand, shall we say. And yeah, the old lady sort of looked up at him and said, oh dear, he seems to have flown away. Yeah, the snigger started, the laughing started, and it was humiliating for me dad, to say the least. Well, not humiliating, embarrassing, I would have thought, but I don't think he really had it in his heart to turn around to the lady and say, well, actually, no. It was just the air pressure pushing the bird away. At that point, I mean, my dad, he had to hold in his laughter. He actually had a huge smile on his face and was still laughing about it when he told me the story. My dad is now well known in his old station as the Bird Whisperer and a man called Horse. But that's a story for another time. And on that note, be safe, be happy. Gaming 13 out.
Hate on me cause your face is flustered. Now I got another episode for Booster Busters. Got me in full swing, but I ain't talking back. Record you raging now. Now let me upload that. Try hard's always raging, then they get to fussing. They always rage quit, and then they start cussing. I'm trolling online, but I ain't saying nothing. Cause if I'm in your game, then I'm Booster Busting.